Vasquez Rocks is in like every 5th or 6th movie.
Yes, every movie, all the old Westerns, it was always in those movies.
Dracula, Star Trek.
Star Trek, yeah. So, but, you know, we took over the whole place, and, you know, we built 15 houses out there. Well, I'll show you what we built. I got one of the great artwork from one of the great illustrators we had, Tim Flannery. We built this whole set out in Vasquez Rocks.
Nice, look at that. That is a work of art.
I mean, we built them at the studio at Universal. People were driving on the freeway on the 14, and they were horrified because they thought, oh my God, they're building the suburbs in our sacred, you know, grounds out there in Vasquez Rocks. They thought it was protected, which it is. And then they'd go over there. You know, what's weird is we couldn't close it because it is a federal park, a national park, I think. So people could walk there on the weekends and go through Bedrock. You know, we posted guards, so that on the weekends you'd have tourists. And nobody had phones in their pocket in those days, but there's a lot of great Betacam videos of us building out there, which are kind of fun to look up. Here's the town. We built this all in, this is our first lighting tests before we decorated it. That's all
nice.
That's no CG, that's real.
That looks good right there. That looks really good.
I mean, here's our first lighting test. This is myself and the cameraman, Dean Cundy, checking out the light for the first time we started to light it. But then you fill that's the McDonald's that plays in the movie. You fill that full of cars and people, and I mean, that's all full scale. You would never do a movie this way these days, of course. But I mean, these sets were immense. This is just, and there were many more this big. So it's an awful fun way to, you know, this is shooting in Vasquez Rocks, you know, the shooting crew.
So,
we just started building. We had a huge crew. It was a big, $45 million film, which was, you know, probably $100 million today. And Amblin knew they had a big deal. I think I've read, and I knew it at the time, we're about 10% of the budget, which is normally how films used to be. But they were been squeezing art departments for years, but they needed it. They knew that. It was an art film. You know, everything was made. Everything you see here, you know, like, you know, we had every book and this is all made out of foam. And everybody had books in their
all of the wild.
They're all carved. First of all, they're all drawn, okayed by Brian. We're talking about thousands of things and hundreds of these books. I just have one left. It's hard coded, then painted, then sealed. So it's, you know, we had Xerox rooms in the businesses. This is a piece of paper, a blank piece of paper. It all had to be carved and painted, and you know, it just goes on and on and on. I mean, these chairs back here, armatures have to be built. And
where did it all start with you? Did you go back and start watching the cartoons, or?
Yeah, I had watched them as a kid, but then it was really hard for me, really. It was a very tough thing at the beginning to figure out how to make live action cartoon.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of people had trouble with this. I had trouble with it. And we were getting close where I remember I was terrified. I had to do a show and tell for Steven Spielberg and Colin Wilson and all the producers there at Amblin. And I hadn't figured out how to do rock that was cartoony. And luckily that weekend, I went to my son had a lot of pets. So I went to a pet store, and they have these beautiful rocks that are very colorful that you put in your terrariums and in your tanks. And they're very theatrical. They're real rocks, but they're very theatrical. I said, that's it. So I ran back to the studio on Monday morning and had everybody paint these big stripes through the interior of these homes. And it was perfect. And everybody walked in and they freaked out. And once I'd done that, then every other thing we do, I mean, here's switch plates, becomes a certain style rock. You know, we have hundreds of these, and they all work. They were all rigged by effects. Once we had a style of rock, then it could be different colors rocks. But you know, I had 30 sculptors then sculpting rocks. I mean, look at this. I mean, then we had a huge prop department. This is when Fred goes to, do his test, his aptitude test.
Right. Which he fails, by the way.
He fails. He had to sharpen his thing.
Yeah. Brilliant.
I mean,
when you have to make a demonstration for Spielberg and the other producers, like walk me through that process. You show up, you set up, you pull up at Amblin, right? Which is right around the corner where we broadcast on the back lot.
It's the same. Yeah, it's a great place to work, and they respect artists there too.
Yeah, as everyone should.
Yeah, I'd like to think so. Everybody, every studio is the same. You lay out all your artwork, all the production designs you've done, models. We had huge models of what the sets were going to look like, and you just do your tap dance. I mean, here's me in some book looking at a big model of what we were intending on.
Genius.
And you have to tell the story. The costume designers sometimes will come and bring costumes, and you walk them through the story and let them know what they're about to spend their $100 million on, or in this case, $45 million on.
So the producers in Spielberg are sitting there, and you're making the presentation of your the props you've created, the direction you want to go, and they're telling you what?
Hopefully they're telling you they love it. They love it. We are so glad that we.
Is that what they said?
Yeah, they loved it. They really were very supportive, and they could see that, and that all stems from the director, who also knew we were on the right track and that he had the right crew to sort of give him, what this vision was.
Your road to redemption is paved with tombstones. No quarter, kill all masters. Go to noquarterkillallmasters.com. Rated R.